The cultural history of the Hidatsa people, historically known as the Hiraka, or people of the willows, constitutes a seminal chapter in the anthropological study of the northern Great Plains. Emerging as a sophisticated sedentary horticultural society, the Hidatsa developed a complex socio-political framework that integrated advanced agricultural techniques, a rigorous age-grade military system, and a matrilineal kinship structure that served as the bedrock of their permanent Earth Lodge villages. Unlike the nomadic hunter-gatherer archetypes often associated with the plains, the Hidatsa, alongside their Mandan and Arikara allies, established a sedentary civilization that functioned as the primary economic and diplomatic nexus of the Missouri River Trench for centuries. This report examines the evolution of the Hidatsa from their tripartite origins and linguistic divergence to their contemporary status as a leading entity within the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara MHA nation, also known as the three affiliated tribes. The contemporary Hidatsa tribe is the result of a historical amalgamation of three distinct subgroups that possess discrete histories, unique origin traditions, and spoke varying dialects of the Siwan language family before their final consolidation along the Knife River. These groups, the Awatiksa, the Awaksawi, and the Hidatsa proper, each contributed specific cultural elements to the unified tribal identity recognized today. The Awatiksa, whose name translates to Village of the Scattered Lodges or High Village, represent the oldest continuous presence among the Hidatsa groups along the Missouri River. Their oral tradition posits a celestial origin, maintaining that they did not migrate from eastern woodlands, but descended from the sky led by a figure named Charred Body. According to these accounts, 13 young couples were brought to the earth to establish villages overlooking the Missouri. Archaeological evidence, including findings at the Flaming Arrow site, approximately 20 miles south of the Knife River, carbon dates sedentary occupation in this region to approximately 1100 CE, providing empirical support for the Awatiksa's long-standing claims to the territory. Historically, this group resided between the Heart and Knife Rivers, maintaining a stable horticultural existence long before the arrival of the other Hidatsa subgroups. In contrast to the sky-based narrative of the Awatiksa, the Awaksawi and the Hidatsa proper share traditions rooted in a westward migration from the eastern woodlands and the Great Lakes region. The Awaksawi, known as the Village on the Hill or Broken Land, possess an emergence tradition similar to that of the Mandan, stating their ancestors surfaced from the earth near Devil's Lake, known as Minnewakan or Holy Water, in what is now eastern North Dakota. This group moved westward to the Painted Woods near Square Buttes, before eventually settling near the Mandan villages. The Hidatsa proper, Hiraka, constituted the largest of the three groups and were originally a confederation of nomadic bands from the north. They separated from the Awaksawi in western Minnesota and migrated toward Devil's Lake. During their travels, they encountered the Mandan, whom they called Adapakoa, or those who pout over tripe. Under the tutelage of the Mandan, the Hidatsa proper adopted agriculture and the construction of permanent Earth Lodge villages, eventually settling at the mouth of the Knife River. The Hidatsa language is a member of the Siwan linguistic family and is most closely related to the Apsaluka Crow language. Historical and linguistic evidence supports the tradition that the Hidatsa and the Crow were once a single people who resided in the Devil's Lake region. According to oral history, a quarrel over a buffalo carcass led two bands to separate from the main group and move westward into the plains, becoming the nomadic Crow Nation. The Hidatsa referred to this departing group as Gikshaaika. Despite this separation, the two tribes maintained an extensive trading relationship, with the Crow returning to the Missouri villages to trade meat and hides for the agricultural surplus of the Hidatsa. While the languages are related, they are not mutually intelligible, reflecting centuries of geographic and cultural divergence. The internal structure of Hidatsa society was governed by a rigorous matrilineal system that dictated residence, property ownership, and clan membership. This social organization placed women at the center of the economic and domestic spheres, a structure that provided stability for their sedentary, land-based lifestyle. The Earth Lodge served as the primary architectural unit and the symbolic center of the matrilineal household. These substantial, dome-shaped structures were built with an inner frame of timber and covered with willow branch mats and sod. Ownership of the lodge was vested exclusively in the women of the family, and the residence was passed from mother to daughter. Upon marriage, a man moved into the lodge of his wife's family, where his status was that of a provider rather than an owner. Women were responsible for the construction of these dwellings, which could house several dozen individuals, including multiple generations of the maternal line. Beyond domestic duties, the women owned the gardens, the household tools, the dogs used for transport, and the stockpiles of dried produce. This economic control granted Hidatsa women significant social autonomy and influence within the village. Hidatsa society was organized into 7 matrilineal clans, which were further grouped into 2 moieties or phratries. Clan membership was determined at birth through the mother's line. As the Hidatsa described it, a person comes into the world through their mother's clan and leaves through their father's clan. This meant the mother's clan provided membership and belonging, while the father's clan bestowed distinct ceremonial rights and responsibilities. The clans functioned as comprehensive social support networks, overseeing the education of children, the care of the elderly, and the preparation of the dead for burial. If a clan member was killed, the collective unit was responsible for avenging the death, ensuring a system of mutual protection. The clans also played a vital role in the age-grade society system, often providing the goods and fees required for an individual to purchase membership in a specific organization. The Hidatsa political and military landscape was defined by the age-grade society system, a series of secular and religious organizations that promoted tribal participation and communal responsibility. Unlike the hereditary classes of European societies, these societies were composed of age cohorts who purchased membership collectively from the next older group. Men's societies were primarily oriented toward warfare, hunting, and village defense. Young boys began in primary societies around the age of 8 to 10, where they learned the fundamentals of tribal life and ritual fasting. As they matured, they moved through organizations such as the Half-Shaved Head Society, which focused on leading war parties and defending the village. One of the most powerful groups in the village was the Blackmouth Society. Serving as the village police force, the Blackmouths acted as the executive arm of the Council of Elders. They were responsible for enforcing village regulations, particularly during the communal bison hunts or when moving the entire village to a winter camp. They possessed the authority to punish individuals who violated tribal laws or jeopardized the community's safety. The Dog Society represented an elite tier of proven warriors. Members of this group were recognized for their bravery and their commitment to sacred legends. They were known to walk without moccasins in honor of the dogs in their mythology. The Dog Society was followed by the Bull Society, an organization of elders who performed the buffalo dance, a sacred ceremony intended to call the buffalo toward the village during times of scarcity. Women's societies, though fewer in number, were deeply religious and focused on the fertility of the crops and the well-being of the community. Younger women joined the River or Enemy societies, which were responsible for dancing to celebrate the return of successful war parties. The Goose Society was a prominent middle-aged organization whose members performed dances to ensure rainfall and a bountiful harvest. The highest-ranking society for women was the White Buffalo Cow Society, which, like the Male Bull Society, played a critical role in the ceremonies surrounding the buffalo hunt. These women's organizations were essential in maintaining the spiritual balance between the village and the natural world upon which their sedentary life depended.